As much as we'd like to think that what we're saying is amazingly powerful, really engaging, and how could anyone possibly think to nod off during any type of presentation that I do, the reality is there are tips and tricks to keep people engaged and to make sure people don't fall asleep. And after an experience I had less than an hour ago, for the completely wrong reasons, I thought it would be remiss of me not to cut a podcast right now to make sure you know exactly how to keep people awake and engaged when you present. All right, so let's be completely honest about it. There are going to be times where things that you say or things that you need to present on may not be the most exciting of topics. It may not always be absolutely groundbreaking in its approach. And sometimes you just need to fundamentally know that you need to be a little bit smarter about how you present to make sure people stay engaged, people don't switch off, people don't actually do what a bunch of us just did with an industry webinar that just ran, and that was a tough one to try and get through. So had multiple people messaging me during that, quite a few people are online, and everyone was just like, oh my God, this is so boring. And one of the biggest things that you need to understand whenever this happens is don't put people through what they just put us through, all right? Don't go death by PowerPoint. That old thing of grabbing out, it's like using MS Paint. I mean, does that even exist anymore, right? Let's not go and use PowerPoint for any type of presentations. It just doesn't bode well. It doesn't go well in any form of any industry. In fact, I can't even think of an industry where they think that presenting with PowerPoint is a good thing, unless you need a couple of succinct dot points, maybe a stepped out model, a walk-through flow diagram might work well in that situation. But the biggest thing about death by PowerPoint is you don't want to have too much on any page. Now, I might get a couple of little quick snippets cut into the visual side of this. So no doubt when my team is editing this, Freddie will probably get that into this right now. And you might be seeing a couple of bits of B-roll of a few little bits that I did actually do before and take notice of. But there were times where there would be a heading and there would be 9 dot points on one page. The font was probably about size 12. And as a net result, there were times where there was literally more than 120 words on a single page. Now, I'm sorry, but that is death by PowerPoint. No one pays attention. No one cares. People switch off. I mean, I had 3 people in the first about 10 or 12 minutes send me messages going, are they kidding? Oh my God, this is so boring. I'm already falling asleep. So death by PowerPoint is the number one thing you need to avoid. And it doesn't not just PowerPoint. It's anything that involves lots of words on screens. Now, one of the things you have to do with presentations is it has to be a visual feast, okay? It has to be able to ambush eyeballs. Good marketing uses videos, uses moving pictures, because we know that the sensory ability of our brain knows that 92% of your stimulus and your ability to, so I'm not talking about kinesthetic learners and audio learners and things like that, but we know that 92% of the stimulus and the ability to be open to actually a learning type environment or a receptive environment must come through visual stimulus. So as a net result, if you're in a situation where you're providing 120 words on a PowerPoint slide and, dot point number 1 is this, number 2 is this, our third key objective is, but it's like, oh my God, everyone goes to sleep, okay? So I'm not going to name and shame because that's not what this is about. This is about us going from a good situation or a not so good situation and creating a great situation. So we need to be able to have a visual feast. We need to be able to use things like just a straight up picture that replicates the feel of what you're trying to put forward. So a great example is if you're actually talking about, a reason why someone might not complete their exercises between sessions, if that was what the topic was, then you might say, look, there's three main reasons why people don't do it. First of all, they might actually get confused as to what they're meant to be doing, or confused as to whether they get it right. Now, if you're going to talk around that point for 20 seconds or 30 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, maybe a minute, rather than having a dot point there written on the screen, put in something that replicates the feeling of they're not sure what to do. So straight off the top of my head, maybe it's a picture of someone with an IKEA flat pack with all the bits out everywhere, and they've got this puzzled look on their face, and maybe the wife stand there with the instructions, and someone's got an Allen key, and you can just go, oh yeah. Like, I can relate to that, because let's be honest, we can all relate to the fact of, I'm not really sure. Like, I might have been given all the tools, right? You've given them all the instructions on a carbon paper what to do, or you've given them the program on PhysiTrack, but they're just not actually sure what to do with it now, right? So while you're trying to put that forward with all of the tools that you believe you've given them, the picture of someone with an IKEA flat pack, as far as IKEA is concerned, they gave you all the tools and all the avenues, the technology with it, the Allen key, but there's a disconnect there. But by using that picture, you get people to actually feel what you're trying to put forward. So rather than having a Microsoft Publisher background with a little funny colored border and stuff like that as a template that they put out with the program, actually use pictures. Use something that's going to resonate the feel of what you're trying to put across to the person first and foremost. All right. So that's a big one. The other one is you're wanting to try and actually break people in break people's conscious thought pattern and look for engagement every 6 to 7 minutes. So if you're presenting for an hour on stage, for instance, or you're doing a 1-hour webinar, every 6 to 7 minutes, you're wanting to make sure that you ask a question or getting someone to raise their hand. You want to maybe direct someone who's on the call to give their opinion of something. It might be a matter of everyone, pens down, let's do the following. All right, stop right now, etc. Or it might be you're going to go into a breakout group, or it doesn't matter what it is. It's something different every 6 to 7 minutes. So it's not just you constantly talking and talking and talking and talking. It's definitely not words on a page, another dot point with words on a page, another dot point with words on a page, because that puts people to sleep. And we know this through years and years of research. We know this because part of one of my companies is we do this globally in a lot of different industries, and I work with some of the world's best people in this situation and in this space. We know that we need to break people's thought pattern. We need to get them to stop and do something new every 6 to 7 minutes. We know that the best way to keep people engaged is to ask questions, get them involved, get them those aha moments, telling stories where we actually go, that's exactly the situation that I've been through. All right. Not doing death by PowerPoint with 10,000 words on a page, not using something from 1995 that should have been banned legally, right? Let alone ethically and morally. So I know I'm being a little bit facetious and having a bit of fun here, but the fact still remains, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to be presenting, whether it's a short 10-minute presentation, whether it's a video podcast, whether you're talking to clients, whether prospective clients and customers, whether you're doing a big, long webinar, please learn to do presentations that involve you, involve moving pictures, involve pictures themselves that resonate the feel. Get away from the idea of putting pictures and dot points up on the screen. It doesn't work. It's not how people do it. You're better off putting up, saying the 5 reasons why this occurs is because, and you give 5 separate pictures and you talk to each of those pictures. If you're going to do a workbook or conference booklets, and again, we do these things all the time. We've got our next intensive coming up only this week. So you get yourself in a situation where you over a 3-day period, you might go through a 120-page booklet. In fact, I've got it right here. And you sit there and you go, I've got 108 pages, whatever. We're going to go through these things. But you put pictures in place so that you can then actually talk to the points. People can engage with their own headings, with their own notes, etc. That's how you be engaging in a presentation, whether you're doing it for a webinar, conference presentation, or even just an industry forum or something like that. Don't go to death by PowerPoint. Basically take out as much of any type of wording as you possibly can. Use pictures, use moving pictures, get people to be engaged so they're part of the process. They learn more. As a net result, they engage more, and it will be more powerful and beneficial for everyone involved. And that's how you make sure people don't go to sleep during your presentations. I'll talk to you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.